So in today's video, we're going to explore a question that came from a colleague of mine asking, what's the right number of tabs for a single document? And at what point do you draw the line? When should you start making subdocuments? And once you start making subdocuments, what's the best way to bubble changes through structures of documents? It's an interesting question, especially for larger teams, because naturally, as your design matures, you're going to want to create subdocuments. Uh, but moving changes through subdocuments itself can be cumbersome. So I'm going to start with advice from Onshape itself, the 10 essential tips. And tip number one advises to limit the number of tabs to 40 or fewer. So, probably the right number of tabs is maybe 20 to 40 in a document for performance purposes. And once you start to add more tabs, you can divide them into subdocuments. So I'd like to show a practical example. So the parent race car is publicly available, and I'm just using a example document at cad.onshape.com so anyone can create an account for free. And this is a publicly available model. And it's an interesting one because you can see how it naturally would divide into sub-assemblies. So this particular document, you can see the number of tabs, and it's going to be a little bit cumbersome to navigate this because there's so many tabs in this document. And if we look at the performance here, we can see there's 96 tabs in total. And suppose we have a team of a dozen engineers working on this, and we'd like to subdivide this so people can work in their own areas and get better performance from subdocuments. So suppose we're going to take this front left corner here, which is the wheel up here in the front left, and we'd like to separate this out into its own subdocument. So you can simply right click on the tab and you can say move to document, and it will naturally pick up all the sub-assemblies within it, as well as the part studio, which generates the geometry for all these sub-assemblies. And let's call this A002 corner front left. We'll just follow the convention of the original designer. This will move those tabs into their own subdocument, clearing 11 tabs from this top level. And if we open up a new tab and we look at the subassembly, we will see here just the wheel. So I'm going to just put a group mate on this so they all stay together. Normally you'd apply, proper um, mates to express the relationships between parts in an assembly, but I'm just going to group mate them for convenience for now. And um, so here you have the top level, and now you can see that this particular front left corner is linked to a subdocument. So suppose I'm the engineer and I'm making a change. So let me open up the part studio, which makes the geometry. And suppose I'm working with this tire and I'd like to make a change to that tire just to make it easy to see. I'll make this tire red. If I go to the this assembly here within the same document, we'll see in a moment that this black tire will turn red. So for tabs within a single document, there it goes. For tabs within a single document, changes will propagate instantly within that document without requiring any versioning. And this makes it very quick to make an iteration, and you see the change immediately. If I go back to this tire and edit the appearance to be, say, blue color, and then I go to the uh, assembly level, I'll see the blue tire immediately. Now, if I go back up to the very top level, I don't see the tire color changing because this is linked through a subdocument. Now, suppose what naturally what happens is you'd like to see how that blue tire looks at your top level. You'd like to see it in the context of this top level. And this is where things get a bit cumbersome because the only way to bubble that change up to the very top level is you need to version this entire document to capture this blue wheel. Go up to your top level. You see the signal here that there is a change at that sublevel document. And then you need to do an update all to pull that change up to this top level. And there we see our blue wheel. So question is, um, to avoid this loop, so suppose you're making color changes, you'd like to see it in the context of this very top level. You don't want to get into a repetitive iteration loop of having to version the subdocument, go to the top document, pull that up with an update all repeatedly. It becomes a bit cumbersome to do that over and over. You like the convenience of everything in one document that updates instantly, but you also want to have all these subassemblies naturally divided into separate documents for performance purposes and also organizational purposes. So how do we get the performance of all within one document, but the controlled structure of subdocuments? So the way to do this, I'll just pick up while I'm here, I'll pick up the URL. I'm going to go back down to the sub-assembly document. What I'm going to do is create um, a document tech check tab. So I'm going to create an assembly, and I'm going to call this top level check. And this is just used for convenience. But here I'm going to insert the top level document back in to the subassembly. Okay. So here I've got the top level document, and this is just a top level check. And for convenience, I put it into this subassembly. So now I have the complete car top level, and it's in the sub document. So um, now, what I want to do is I want to suppress just this component, just this subassembly here in this subdocument. So I'll go back up to the top level document. Let's quickly let's create ourselves a toggle um, checkbox, and we'll call this tire, let's say. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this subassembly and we're going to configure the suppression of that subassembly when this toggle is turned off. So when I toggle it off, it disappears. When I toggle it on, it appears. So I'm going to version this, go back down into my subassembly level. I'm going to pull that new configuration through. And um, now at this subassembly document level, basically I want to toggle just this component on and off. And let's say I'd like at the subassembly level, subdocument level, I'd like to have see either the original top level, or I'd like to see like my local changes within this document. So I'll set up another configuration here, and we'll call um, one of these options original top level, and I'll call the next choice, let's call it local. So I want to see either the original top level or I want to see my local here. And let's go into the change configuration, and we're going to link this tire toggle option, and we're going to make it active whenever original is active. And we're going to turn it off when we switch to the other option. So when I choose local, that tire is going to disappear. And now what we can do is we can insert from this current document the assembly A002 tire here. And maybe just to make things extra clear, let's change the tire color again. So in this local document, let's make this purple. And so now we're going to see this tire go purple. So this purple is from our local document. The blue one is the actual top level. And I'm going to mate these two together, just to position the tire so I can see it, how it would look on the entire car. And I'm also going to configure this purple wheel subassembly with suppression. And basically, it's going to appear whenever local is chosen, and it's going to disappear when original is chosen. So when I show original, I'm going to see the blue wheel. And when I toggle this to local, I'm going to see the purple wheel. So now I've got the entire top level, and I'm seeing the local subassembly that I'm working on right now in at my sub level. So now, if I change the tire color, let's say to um, uh, green, and hit the green check mark, if I go back to this uh, level, I'm going to see that bubble through instantly. So no versioning of this document, no going up to the top level, no bubbling that change through. I can see that change instantly. If I change to any color, I'm going to see that change happen immediately. Orange tire, and I go here, I see the orange tire color, happen in 1 second. So this makes it very convenient to instantly see your changes in the context of the top level assembly without all the versioning. So you've got this great combination of instant change propagation, uh, and yet you've kept the tabs in separate documents for organizational purposes. And then from time to time, let's say we've settled, we think the orange wheel looks great, it matches our windscreen here. We can go up to the real top level. Um, so I'll make a version down here, and then I'll go up to the real top level, and I'll see this go blue in a moment, and then I can pull that orange tire all the way up to the real top level. So just imagine you have 10 sub-assemblies and you have 10 designers working in separate areas. Maybe halfway through the day or once a day, they take their cumulative work and they bubble it up to the top level. They only need to do it infrequently, and that continues to let the team uh, be aware of the evolving design. And yet, you've got high performance of smaller documents distributed amongst your team members. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope this helps your team uh, engineer more efficiently and Onshape.